of Way called Gangster State, and he and the commissioning editor of Pan Macmillan was here to tell us everything about what goes behind the scene in the creation of a book. And if any of us want to write a book, what are the shortcuts and the tips and the techniques of actually getting that dream become reality. So it's another Saturday, it's 5 p.m. and we have the Game of Facts for you. We're celebrating our first year anniversary this month, and that's why we have really specially curated books for you. This one has been endorsed by none other than Bill Gates. It's called Numbers Don't Lie, and it is really a very interesting journey of fact finding. It's an adventure actually, and what you're going to land up having is a perspective on issues that you thought were behind reasoning, and probably for one reason or the other you kind of had a view on it, and that book is going to change that. So I'll give you one anecdote, and that is, he makes a very strong case why electric cars really aren't as great an option at the moment as we think it is. He is an economist. He's also a policy analyst. So clearly he's got his numbers and evidence all in place. And he definitely talks about the benefits of vaccination and how it actually has a very good rate of return on investment. So typically, say for example, in India, your parents, okay, let's not go any further, have spent about say 20,000 in getting all your vaccines, pneumonia, diphtheria, all of that. For 20,000 rupees for the rest of your life, you're going to be able to live a long life without getting any of these diseases. And so not only do you get a prolonged life, but you get a really good quality of life for just 20,000 rupees. So that's a great investment, right? So with that, we try and come with more facts like this. Okay, so today the music was a bit off. Our DJ was kind of having a little bit of a glitch, but I think things will be fine from next week. Raghuvir is asking for the pin, and so is Amrita. It's in the chat box, or Muskan or Meenal will give it to you. Don't worry about that. I'll take a little bit of time just to remind everyone, you need two screens. You have to log into www.kahoot.it, put in your nickname, and that's pretty much it. I hope all of you have got the game pin. The book is, of course, Numbers Don't Lie by Vaclav Smil. He's a Czech-Canadian policy analyst, and his books are absolutely fabulous. They're recommended by no one other than Bill Gates himself. So I'm sure that book is going to be very interesting. And we had 3 winners yesterday who walked away with a Pan Macmillan book hamper. They've put together like an entire compilation of 3 or 4 books, which special people got. We're going to be having a lot of these kind of events going forward. So just look out on Instagram or Twitter, or whatever your comfort level is with Facebook or one of the other platforms, and we'll definitely be putting out all the information possible. So with this, I'm now going to share my screen as usual. First 3 questions are going to be poll questions, and then we get into the 10 questions that we have. Any fence sitters out there, quickly join in. It's a mixed bag. We have some on electric vehicles, like we spoke about. We have some on, well, it's from buffaloes to whatever possible else you have. They're all there in this quiz. So it's kind of an interesting mixed bag. Aditya, Dipankar, Tripti, Amrita, Parisha, Sai, Manish, Madan, Srinivasan, Pooja, Aziz, Harisha. I think some people are trying their luck. They think they got lucky yesterday, so they're going to get lucky today as well. I wish you luck. Kirti, Hina, Raghuvir, Dipshika, Mamta, Vibhishra, Adarsh, Srini, Sharvani, Bharat. Welcome, everyone. I'm going to now get into the quiz. I'm sure everyone's waiting. I'm not going to keep you waiting any longer. It's 32 weeks of quizzing this year, and we're keeping tabs. And here we have it. The first question, these are polls, and there are no marks for this. Which life skill do you think is absolutely necessary? Is it cooking? Is it plumbing? Is it driving? Is it taxes and budgeting? But I say plumbing include carpentry and, you know, all that handyman work as well. And of course, this is a multi-select. But we just want to know which life skill do you think is very, very important? Okay, so taxes and budgeting, clearly, yes. I think that's one of the ones that we really need. But cooking takes the cake here. And I completely agree with all of you. It is a very necessary survival skill. And then we have driving and plumbing, you know, that kind of stuff gets a little relegated to the fourth position. All right, like I said, no points for this. It's just to get you familiar with the format. Now, the next question we're asking is your idea of exercise. Exercise is important, but do you prefer cardio? Do you prefer weight training, yoga, or just playing a sport? Which one do you prefer for your idea of exercise? Okay, so playing a sport is tops, and I think one, you know, game of badminton or tennis pretty much makes up for all of this. And then we have yoga coming in next, which, yes, I completely endorse. And then we have cardio, and well, weight training and lifting weights really is not really the most preferred thing with the group here. And I pretty much agree with the choice. This is the last one of the poll questions. What do you need the most at this moment? Is it sleep? Is it diet? Is it exercise? Or is it a holiday? That one element that you think you're not getting enough of in your life and you want right now. Okay, so I think holiday and exercise, I think we're all a very honest bunch here. We've all said what we like for our exercise, and clearly, yes, I think exercise and holiday, you know, are very important. And then pretty much, you know, hand in glove comes sleep as well. And then we have diet, which is really the last. Okay, so we come to the end of the poll questions. We want to show some love to India Spend. We are powered by India Spend, and it's 10 years of data journalism. And yeah, I think a lot of these questions and a lot of, you know, you actually get to see them come alive. This kind of data that you see in these quizzes in India Spend stories. So do go there and take a look at it and see the stories that you like. All right. So I'm going to go into the first question. It's a true or false, and it's with double points. Ministry of Agriculture maintains data on the number of women engaged in sowing, hoeing, weeding, and harvesting crops. True or false? This is all the work that typically has to be done on bent knees and with your backs bent to the ground for pretty much most of the day. Is this true or false? Okay, 28 of you. I'm wondering what you were thinking when you went for false. If you guessed it, well, you guessed it right. In fact, this question was asked in Parliament, and the government has disclosed that they do not, in fact, have any data. While they do know the number of women that own or work as marginal farmers or smallholding farmers, they do not have data of women who are involved in the harvesting of crops. And one of the issues that is not recognized enough is that it's the women who do all the hard back-breaking work in the farms, and it's largely the men who do more of the marketing, taking the crops to the market, dealing with the sales, buying the seeds. They do most of that work, but really the very hard work is done by women in the farms. And India has more women farmers, I would argue, than men, because a lot of the men farmers have migrated to cities for better jobs. All right, so we need some more recognition clearly for women who work and do this kind of hard work in farms. We'll take a look at the scoreboard. It means something, but not everything at this stage, because this is a very dynamic scoreboard. So it's Aman, Nilab, Madhan, Rohit, and Adit in the lead rather right now. These 5 answered the question correct, and they answered it the fastest. All right. Another true or false, and this one has double points as well. Unemployment rates are higher in urban India compared to rural India. Is this true or false? Okay, this is true. And the periodic labor force survey is conducted every year. And consistently, there is a gap between the unemployment rates in rural and urban India, and urban India is much higher. We have data from 2017 to 2020, and at every given point in time, all years, there was definitely a difference. In 2019, 2020, that's the last that we have it for. In rural India, the unemployment rate was 3.9%, while in urban India, it was 6.9%. So that's really how it's been. And as far as while urban unemployment rates do fluctuate, but in rural India, consistently, the numbers have been decreasing. So in 2017, it was 5.7%, and in 2020, it was 3.9%. And we'll take a look at the scoreboard. It's Aman, Adit, Rohit, Anna, and Gargi in the top 5. Okay, let's see what we have next. It's another true or false. Government of India recognizes Taliban as a terrorist organization. Is this statement true or false? Okay, so 29 of you, I'm trying to think, you clearly did know something here. So the government of India recognizes the ISIL and ISIS and the Daesh as terrorist organizations. The Taliban does not feature as on the list of organizations that the government of India recognizes clearly as terrorist organizations. This opens it's these kind of information or these kinds of things are very important, because it kind of gives you an indication of where our foreign policy could possibly allow us to go or not. All right, the scoreboard now, and it's Adit, Rohit, Rajavardhan, Dipshika, and Shreyan in the lead. The next question. The total number of electric cars registered since 2018. Is it approximately 3.28 lakhs, 5.17 lakhs, 1.25 lakhs, or 8.53 lakhs? We're talking about electric vehicles. So 23 of you got it correct, and it is 5.17 lakhs. Since 2018, we've been consistently adding about over a lakh 0.25 electric vehicles every year. And in fact, we're starting to see an exponential increase. Of course, this helps because the government is allowing for certain SOPs. Once you buy an electric vehicle, it's brought down the price of batteries for electric vehicles. It's ensuring that you don't have to take certain permits. So it's just making everything a lot more easy. All right. Now we go into the scoreboard, And it's Adit, Adya, Paras, Rohit, and Rajvardhan Red. Okay, all right. We'll get into the next question. If any of you want to know the source for the question that I asked on whether Taliban is recognized as a terrorist organization, we'll be definitely happy to share that with you. In fact, this was a question that was raised in the parliament in just as early as the 10th of August, and the Home Ministry has given this information. Okay, another true or false, and double points for this one. GST on electric vehicles have reduced from 12 to 5%. This could be, you know, I think I've talked enough about electric vehicles, but I hope I don't confuse you any further, but we're asking whether the statement is true or false. Okay, so you were correct. It has been reduced from 12% to 5%. And just so you know, as far as the charging or the charges for these electric vehicles go, that also has been reduced from a GST of 18% to now 5%. So the government is really trying all kinds of ways to make sure that the way becomes smoother for owners to adopt electric vehicles over time. Okay, right. It looks like a slightly different scoreboard now, but don't worry, things keep moving up and down. It's Paras, Rohit, Anna, Dipshika, and Srini. And we'll take the next question. Mehsana, Jafrabadi, Pandarpuri, Murra, and Nilli Ravi are all archaeological zones, municipalities in Gujarat, breeds of buffaloes, or nomadic tribes. Okay, so 41 of you were correct. I was a little surprised to see, you know, because Mehsana is in Gujarat, and then, you know, so essentially, just to, why did this question even feature in this quiz? The government is working on a lot of conservation projects for bovines, both cows and buffaloes, and this sort of segment of buffaloes has been getting some special SOPs from the government, and therefore we felt probably we should know a little bit more about them. Okay, the scoreboard now, it's Paras, Dipshika, Anna, Aman, Rohit, and let me tell you, the puzzles are coming up, and it's going to be a very interesting one to see what happens really at the end. So double points again. During the lockdown in 2020, X number of interstate migrants returned to their home states. Is it 80 lakhs? Is it 55 lakhs? Is it 1.14 crore? Or is it 1 crore? So 34 of you were correct. It's 1.14 crore. And I'll tell you why this number is so significant. When we talk about partition, it was 1.5 crore people that were displaced. And 1.14 crore, I would argue, is not very far off. We are saying this is the number. It could have been more. Just like in the partition, we're saying it's 1.5 crore, it could have been more. Irrespective, I think the tragedy or the kind of hardship that the lockdown brought, especially on the migrants, is something as a nation we need to take into, you know, accept and recognize and make sure that we treat our migrants a little better, because they are, I mean, in fact, most of us, I argue, are all results or immediate migrants. And therefore, it's very important for us to recognize that migrants actually contribute significantly to the economy. Okay. It's Dipshika now, Anna, Srini, Aman, and Paras on the scoreboard. But let's see what the next question does for all of us. Again, double points. Visa on arrival is extended for business, tourism, medical, and conference purposes to the citizens of, it's one of these countries. Is it UK, USA, Japan, or Singapore? So 18, well, 25 of us said it's USA, and I thought the same thing too. So I was actually confused between the US and UK. And surprise, surprise, it is Japan. So in fact, there are just three countries. There's South Korea, there's UAE, and there's Japan that are extended the courtesy of visa on arrival. The rest of them, there are 156 other countries that get electronic, tourist visas. But as far as red carpet welcome from India is concerned, it goes to these three countries. That's Japan, South Korea, and the UAE. And with that, it's Dipshika, Niharika, Anna, Abhya, and Shweta, and I'm absolutely loving this scoreboard because it's got a lot of women power in it. Okay, this is a puzzle question, and they're always the slightly difficult ones. This one has double points. Rank the states, union territories based on full immunization coverage to children between the age of 0 to 5 years. We're not talking about COVID. And the states are Karnataka, Jammu Kashmir, Himachal, and Kerala. Please work against your bias for this question is a hint that I'm going to give you. The most obvious one that is known for all the best things in health does not feature on top. I think I've pretty much given you as much help as I could. And I do hope some of you get this question. Okay, so I hope I was of some help to you. Just so that you know, Himachal Pradesh has actually got 89.3% coverage of immunization, among children from 0 to 5 years, which is very, very, very good actually. And then you have Jammu Kashmir, which is at 86.2%. Now, this is from the National Family Health Survey, which was conducted in 2019-2020, and the earlier NFHS survey, which was NFHS 4, which was conducted 5 years before that, Jammu Kashmir was somewhere around 75%. So from 75%, they've moved to 86%. And then you have Karnataka, which is at 84.1%. 5 years ago, they were at 62%. So from 62%, they've jumped to 84%. And then you have Kerala, which interestingly, in the earlier NFHS 4, which was conducted in 2015-16, they were at 82%, and they have come down to 77.8%. Immunization coverage campaigns are extremely critical because we're talking about trying to, take a charge of diseases that can have a very debilitating effect on children. So something as simple or innocuous sounding as, measles can actually cause brain damage. Or, in some cases, you also have some of these diseases causing blindness. Now, these are things that are preventable. There is no reason why any child has to suffer from meningitis or from pneumonia, or for that matter, from mumps, because we do have vaccines that can prevent this. And it ought not to be there. And that is why indicators like immunization rates become very critical. Okay, so I've done my piece of trying to spread the good word there. And on the scoreboard, we have Dipshika, Adya, Niharika, Anna, and Shweta. Okay, the last question coming up. Rank the states based on cases registered under the Child and Adolescent Labor Act. So what we're trying to ask you is which of these states either have a good system where cases against child labor are registered, or actually have a high prevalence of child labor. Your options are Uttar Pradesh, Karnataka, Telangana, and Bihar. Again, I will strongly advise you, it's a hint, but work against your bias. You're probably going to stand a much better chance at getting this right. Not bad. I think with a little bit of getting the hint, you are doing much, much better. Now, this is where it stumps me, because my bias leads me to believe that, you know, as far as the south of India is concerned, they tend to treat women and children much better. I'm sorry, it's my bias, than, you know, probably some other states. But here, very interestingly, we get a completely different view. It could also mean that probably the systems and policies are in a much better place where these kind of cases are registered. So Telangana actually tops the list with 314 cases against child and adolescent labor that has been registered. Now, I know these numbers don't mean much at this point in time, but let me come to telling you why even this is important. And then you have Karnataka, which has about 83 cases. Bihar has 15 cases that were registered, and Uttar Pradesh has 9. Now, why is this even important in the first place? Because clearly we have to arrest child labor. And having said that, we need to also know that we do have some kind of a process. May not be working the best, but it is there. And if more of us know about it, then we can spread the good word and make sure that, you know, some material change does happen. All right, so with this, I'm going to get into the podium. We've come to the end of this quiz. Don't worry, we'll have more books like this coming up. So don't get disheartened. It's Niharika in third place. Second place is Adya, and Dipshika is in the top position. Anna and Shweta are runner-ups, and Niharika, Adya, Dipshika, congratulations. You get the book Numbers Don't Lie. Please, for those of us who haven't won it, in fact, I haven't read it yet, do share the review and tell us whether you like the book and whether it worked for you. Don't worry, don't fret. All of you who haven't made it, the fact that you stayed on till now is so fantastic. And I promise you, we're going to have more books like this. We're going to have more publishers giving out hampers of books. I'm dropping a lot of hints today, but some really good stuff is going to come up. So don't worry, just hang in there. You will start to win. And thank you all so much for joining us. It's Meenal coming up next Friday at 5 p.m. And then I'll see you again on Saturday at 5 p.m. Till then, take care. Have a great weekend, the rest of it, whatever's left, and a great week ahead. Thank you all so much.